Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate day number 1278, 1278, Tuesday, November the 10th, 2020. Thank you so much for tuning in. Well, I'll tell you what, just as some of us suspected, today, or I should say yesterday, Monday, the shit hit the fan. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. The world, I should say America anyway, was a much different place from when the sun came up this morning to when it set this evening. If you're following the election, the post-election follies, probably the most significant thing, and there's many things I'm going to go through here, and I'm only going to be able to touch just a small percentage of the major events that went down on Monday, but I'm going to point out a few of them here. But one of the most major events that I saw was at about 6 o'clock, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. I go over to look at the map over at RCP to follow up on the Arizona election, because I know there was a bunch of ballots that came in last night, and I know that Trump is closing in. And I know that in the last counting, he got 60-something percent, low 60 range percent of the ballots cast in the last drop, and they were expecting that he would get about the same in this drop, which would bring him to now under 10,000 votes in Arizona, with another 150,000 left to count. And most of the Democratic strongholds have already voted. These are Trump votes that are now going to be coming in, which means that Trump almost certainly will surpass Biden's vote count in Arizona and put Arizona right in the win column for Trump. Of course, he's pretty much already won Alaska. They just haven't given him the electoral votes. He's still up by 2.3 in North Carolina. He's going to carry that 99% of the vote in. And, of course, he's now down about 7, 8, 9,000 votes in Georgia, but they're going to have a recount, and we already have heard that there was tons of fraud going on there. In fact, a story out today, or yesterday I should say, where it appears that they were actually doing ballot harvesting in Georgia, and they were using Democratic Party allies, private groups who are allies of the Democratic Party, to conduct the ballot harvesting in Georgia. Well, ballot harvesting is illegal in Georgia. It's not California. It's Georgia. And much more. But at about 6:30 p.m., I go over to RCP, the Real Clear Politics, which is pretty much the go-to site for everybody following polls and following everything that's happening in and around the election. So I always look at the RCP averages, just like just about everyone else, because you can go to one page and see 30 different polls. You can see the averages. It's all been figured out for you. It's a very easy site to navigate. I mean, they do really well at RCP, and that's pretty much the Bible for people like myself who follow these races and things like that. So I go over to RCP, and I notice that they now have taken Pennsylvania out of the Biden win column. What's more, they subtracted out the electoral votes, took them away from Biden for Pennsylvania. And now if you go to RCP, as of 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time last night when I looked at it, Biden no longer has enough electoral votes to be president-elect. RCP has stripped his votes from Pennsylvania, and now he's a little short. Now for RCP to take away Pennsylvania and put it in the unknown column, and to take those votes off the board for Biden, knowing good and well he no longer has the 270 he needs without Pennsylvania, that's a major move for Real Clear Politics. Not exactly a conservative site. So there you go. RCP, the go-to place for looking at polls and looking at the electoral map and getting updates on the vote counts, has now pulled Pennsylvania from the Biden column. He no longer has the 270 he needs. That's a game changer. And, of course, if you look across the country, what happened yesterday, again, there's so much happened. It was such a unbelievable avalanche of things that happened yesterday. I imagine this stuff had all been kind of building up, and over the weekend, I guess these decisions were made, and today, I mean, the hammer just dropped. You talk about opening up a 55-gallon drum of whoop-ass. They opened up a 500,000-gallon drum of whoop-ass. And if you're China Joe, you got to be sweating bullets right now. And a lot of media organizations, not only did they get their predictions of the polls wrong on purpose, but now they've prematurely called the race for China Joe, and here in the next day or two, they're going to have to recant that. You talk about egg on the face. You talk about face plant. My goodness gracious. So there you go. You want to know epic? That is epic. When RCP takes points off the board, they know something. We also learned yesterday that Attorney General Barr has authorized federal prosecutors to pursue substantial allegations of voting irregularities before the 2020 election is certified. In other words, he's telling him to go out and investigate all these allegations of voter fraud, election fraud, and to do it before the 2020 election is certified. That, I believe that date is December 12th or 15th. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're in uncharted waters. I think when the 12th and the 15th, or the 12th, the 15th, whichever date it is, rolls around, I don't think that the legal challenges and the recounts are going to be done by then. I'm not exactly sure how this thing's going to go, but I don't think they can do everything they have to do in the next 5 weeks, unless the Supreme Court jumps in here within 2 weeks and just lays it out. Okay, period. No votes that came in after election night, 8 p.m. are counted, period. Done. Whatever your vote count was then, that's what it is. In which case Trump would win in a landslide. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying something better happen, because at this rate, there's so much. There were so many actions taken today, and there's more coming tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. It's just unraveling. The whole thing is unraveling. But think about what this means. We learned yesterday from several of Trump's legal surrogates that they literally have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds already of signed, sworn affidavits by poll workers, by postal workers, by officials, city officials, who have all signed sworn affidavits that they've observed some sort of election fraud or voter fraud. And they're naming names, including two of these postal service people. They're naming names of some fairly, mid to upper level managers at the U.S. Postal Service. And these guys didn't do this on their own. They were following some orders from much higher up. Now, I don't know how many of these people that were involved, but there's literally got to be hundreds, if not thousands, in fact, hundreds and hundreds for sure, probably in the thousands of poll workers in these crooked cities, Detroit, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Atlanta, Clark County, and Nevada, who gleefully took part in breaking the law. Now, that's one crime that you commit, you will do jail time and pay a big fine. They do take that seriously, and you see people getting some serious fines and jail time for voter fraud and election fraud. And we're talking about hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of people who are guilty, and they know it. And they have to be sweating bullets right now. If you're one of them poll workers that thought, yeah, this is great, watch me throw away these 500 Trump votes. Watch me change these 50 Trump votes to Biden votes. Yep. Those people have got to be real nervous, because they're not part of the ruling elite. There's nobody that's come and saved their butt. In fact, the people above them was, I didn't know anything about it. I mean, did it on their own. But we're finding out that a lot of this stuff was done because supervisory people, higher-ups, told people, oh yeah, go ahead and do it. Yeah, we're going to keep the Republicans out. We're not going to let them watch. Don't worry about it. throw away all the Trump votes, take all the blank votes, fill them in for Biden. Don't worry about filling out the rest of the ticket. Just sign it up for Biden. There's a lot of very, very nervous, low-level poll workers who allowed themselves to be conjured into breaking the law. And many of them, I'm telling you, many of them are now going to be charged with serious federal crimes. Voter fraud in a federal election is a federal crime. And that you're talking about some very big fines and jail time for election fraud. They just threw the book at a judge for election fraud. I mean, he just got, I think, sentenced like 2 days ago, last Thursday or Friday. And it was in one of these crooked Democrat-run cities. So, yes, Attorney General Barr has now authorized federal prosecutors to pursue substantial allegations of voting irregularities before the 2020 election is certified. In other words, he's telling them to go get him and get him now, quick. Because he knows that once the Democrats come in, if they come in, and now it's looking less likely that they will, they'll put the kibosh on all that. Barr will be gone. Day one. And he knows it. Time is of the essence. We learned yesterday that multiple lawsuits were filed. Hundreds and hundreds of whistleblowers have now come forward. They have hundreds and hundreds of sworn affidavits from whistleblowers who have signed sworn affidavits that show criminal election fraud, first-hand knowledge of criminal election fraud. We learned yesterday that Attorney General Barr had a personal visit with Mitch McConnell, Cocaine Mitch. Now, there's a picture of Barr and his posse, and he's got about 10 guys behind him. And the look on Barr's face is very serious. He didn't look like he went over for a cup of tea and a chat. And that's not normal for the Attorney General to go to the Senate Majority Leader. Normally, it's the other way around. The Senate Majority Leader might go over to visit the Attorney General. Pretty rare for the Attorney General to go visit the Senate Majority Leader. There must be something going on. It was serious business. That was not a social call. Something very, very serious that Barr needed to discuss with McConnell that he didn't want to talk about on the telephone. And he went to McConnell. We don't know exactly why, but we did hear from John Solomon last week that he had heard from sources that there was going to be some sort of a fairly major Spygate development this week. He said he was hearing possibly around Wednesday. Maybe Barr went over to brief McConnell to give him a heads up and say, hey, just want to let you know, in 2 days from now, you're going to get hit with a lot of questions. We're going to be doing something on Wednesday that's going to, put you in the spotlight a little bit. I just want to give you a heads up. It's probably what happened. He didn't go there for tea. Yesterday, Trump fired deep state swamp rat Mark Esper, the Secretary of Defense. He's gone. He should have been gone a long time ago. Should have been gone the very day after he came out and did that interview where when the riots were all going on and Trump said, well, I mean, if we had to deploy the military in the streets, it's certainly an option that the president has. And Esper, the next day, goes out and does an interview and basically tries to embarrass Trump by saying, oh, well, there's nothing that's rising to that level that we'd ever even consider something like that, and, blah, 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 blah. And just kind of belittled the president. You don't do that. You don't do that to your boss. But he did. And I'm surprised he lasted this long. He's a deep stater. And I also heard from some reports over the weekend I was reading that Esper had actually reached out to the Biden team to let them know that he was ready to start cooperating with them. Yes, he should have been fired a long time ago. Glad he's gone. And do you think he'll be offered a job in the Biden administration? No. You know why? Because I don't think there's going to be a Biden administration. The worm has turned, my friends. Here's something else that's really funny. the government service, the GCA, the government, I think it's called the Government Service Accountability or whatever it's called, the GCA. They are the ones who are in charge of a transition as far as providing all sorts of resources for transition teams for new presidential administrations coming in. Well, one of the things that they do is they allot a certain amount of money. In this particular case, this year, they decided $9 million will be allocated to the transition team for the incoming president. So they put out a statement yesterday, because normally they make these funds available the day after the election. So they put out a statement yesterday, the GSA, saying that they have decided they are not going to release the $9 million in funds for the Biden transition team because the election has not been decided. And so because Biden all day yesterday, he was talking about how, we're getting the transition team together. We're getting ready to put it all together. We're getting ready to get he's going to start naming his cabinet and all this sort of stuff. And then we're just waiting for our release of the funds from the GSA so we can begin this transition process. And then a couple hours after he makes this statement in a speech, he gets the bad news. The GSA ain't coming off the cash. Sorry, no cash coming your way for a transition team because you probably won't be having a transition team. Other than the team will be transitioning back to the basement once they expose the massive voter fraud and election fraud. We also got some more good news yesterday that Trump is now going to begin his rallies again. Yes, that's right, Trump rallies coming to a city near you. And my guess is they'll be bigger and better than ever. We also learned yesterday that an entire Michigan county flipped back to Trump because of another software glitch. Software glitch. There's really no such thing as a software glitch, okay? That's like some sort of a term that people throw out there. There's not such thing as a software glitch. When you're in beta testing for a piece of software, you can have issues with the software and the programming, or how it communicates or interfaces with some other types of interfaces when you're doing programming. That's not what we're talking about here. That can be like a glitch. This is a program on a system that's not in beta testing. It's actually being used in the elections. And it had flipped not just once, not just twice, but now this is the third confirmed time it flipped an entire batch, thousands and thousands of votes, which turned an entire red Trump county into a blue county for Biden. But now that they've discovered the glitch, do you think there's going to be a lot of discoveries in the next couple of days? Oh, we just discovered a mistake. Uh-oh. We're going to have to go back and fix that. Yeah, there's a lot of mid-level people in these bureaucracies, in these crooked cities, a lot of poll workers, a lot of management people who know that the shit's about to hit the fan and they're caught up in it and they're going to try to go back and fix their crimes. So now an entire county in Michigan yesterday was flipped back to Trump after they supposedly, allegedly discovered a glitch which flipped an entire red county blue. But it was a glitch. So now they've had to flip it back red. Trump picked up an entire county yesterday in Michigan. Maybe that's why RCP, seeing the writing on the wall, went ahead and pulled those electoral votes away from China Joe. Yesterday we had a Detroit city worker who has now become a whistleblower. The media loves whistleblowers. Remember Sharamella and Vindeman? They worship whistleblowers. I wonder if they'll cover this whistleblower because it's a biggie. This is a Detroit city worker who's blown the whistle. He claims that ballots were ordered by management to be backdated, thousands of them. And now the FBI is involved. We're not talking about the FBI in D.C. the FBI of the criminal Comey. No. We're talking about FBI field agents who don't work in D.C. So now the FBI has taken this Detroit City worker's statement and they're investigating, and he's probably dropping names of who these senior managers were who ordered the backdating of thousands of ballots. That's, those guys, if that's proven to be true, those guys, whoever these upper management people are that this guy just blew the whistle on, they are absolutely going to jail. We have another whistleblower that came out yesterday in Nevada who is alleging that ballots with faulty signatures were counted knowingly. He too has signed a legal affidavit and will be talking with the FBI. We have a lawsuit that was filed yesterday in Milwaukee. And these are not even the Trump team, legal team lawsuits. These are other lawsuits being filed by other people. We all know about the lawsuits they filed yesterday. And the ones that are coming up tomorrow, today and tomorrow and the next day. This whole week. You'll probably have lawsuits in 6, 7, 8 different states by the end of the week out of the Trump campaign, plus all of these. So this lawsuit was filed in Milwaukee. And this is another group of individuals filing this lawsuit, a group of attorneys in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, because they've looked at some analytics and they have seen where the voter turnout in Milwaukee was 89%. That's not possible. 89% of voters, it's nearly impossible, especially when you throw out all the people who are dead or no longer live there or they're duplicates or whatever. You throw out those and you automatically lose 10%. This would be suggesting that nearly everybody in Milwaukee who's a registered voter voted. That's just impossible. It just doesn't happen. The average turnout in a big election is about 68%. The average turnout in a low federal election is about 62. 62 to 68. 89 for Joe Biden and Trump? No way. This group of attorneys doesn't believe it. And they've got some analytics. We'll see if a judge believes it. This is going to the Supreme Court. We had a new poll that came out yesterday that shows that less than half of the people in the country believe Biden legitimately won the election. That's not good. When the majority of people in the country think the election was rigged, that's a recipe for some bad stuff. You know what I mean? Attorney General Barr knows what that means. So do a lot of the cops and sheriffs and attorney generals and people in high places. They think they got a problem with Antifa and Black Lives Matter. You get 70, 80 million pissed off patriots about a rigged election. You're talking about something completely different. Fox News crashed and burned over the weekend. They lost 66% of their audience in one weekend. Good. Who the hell are the other 34% hanging around? If you pay to have Fox, get out of there and stop watching Fox. Go to YouTube if you like Tucker, if you like Dobbs, if you like Sean, whoever you like, whoever it is. Watch the YouTube video. Just wait an hour. Wait an hour and 10 minutes after the show's over. Then you can go watch a YouTube video of some YouTube subscriber. Put some money in his pocket. Fox doesn't need a penny of your money. Wait an hour and go watch it on YouTube. Not on a Fox official channel. Some small YouTuber trying to make a living. Give him a few clicks. He deserves it. He took the time to upload the video. Let the man earn a living. Or the woman, whoever it may be. Don't give a penny to Fox. They're frauds, as most of you know. The Ohio Attorney General has asked the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn the ruling that extended mail-in ballots. Now, a lot of people, I'm in a very conservative part of Ohio, the southwestern part of Ohio, very, very conservative. But as you go farther north, it gets a little more moderate. You get into Columbus, it's pretty moderate, pretty even, 50-50. And as you head north from there toward Cleveland, you get very liberal. Most of the governor, Attorney General, all these guys, these are not Trump These are not Trump people. These are not Trump Republicans. Mike DeWine's no Trump Republican, nor is this Attorney General of Ohio. These are like Jeb Bush Republicans. But what the Democrats have done this time, they've stepped on it big time this time, and I'm going to tell you why in just a minute. They've made a huge mistake this time, targeting Trump. They got away with Spygate, they got away with Ukrainegate, they got away with all this type of stuff, or at least it appears that way. But they're not going to get away with this, and I'm about to tell you why. Because this dude here, this Attorney General here in the state of Ohio, he's not a Trump guy. He's like a Jeb Bush guy, just like Mike DeWine. These are establishment Republicans. We don't get, you'll get some congressmen like Jim Jordan or like my congressman or whatever, but for the most part, about 95% of Republicans in Ohio, they're establishment Republicans. They're milquetoast, moderate Republicans. We don't, like I said, you'll get some congressional districts, but the governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, those bureaucratic positions at the top of the pyramid there in Ohio, those are all milquetoast, moderate type, Republicans, slimy Republicans. But so for this attorney general here in Ohio, who again is not a big Trump fan, for him to go to the U.S. Supreme Court requesting that they overturn that ruling that extended mail-in ballots, that's a big deal. And I'm going to tell you why in just a minute all this matters. We have a group of 10 Republican attorney generals yesterday who, at a press conference, they announced that they are going to take legal action in Pennsylvania to challenge the mail-in ballots there. That's 10 attorney generals, 10 Republican attorney generals across the country who are now going to take legal action against Pennsylvania to challenge their mail-in ballots. And of course, I should add, since I started the video this way by telling you, if you go over to RCP, you'll see that Trump picked up a very, very nice big chunk of votes overnight in Arizona. It appears that Trump is on his way to having a clear victory in Arizona, regardless of what may or may not have happened with voter fraud or election fraud, rigging, whatever. Now, I was busy at work this morning. At about 10:30, I got a text from my niece, who works from home and can keep up watching all this stuff. I don't know. I don't find out about this stuff till I come home from work and read it. But she works from home. Her and her husband both work from home. And she sent me a text about 10:30 and said, I don't know if you're following the news, but we need to get behind the president and help him fight this battle. And she says, me and Kevin both just donated $250 to Trump's legal defense fund. Will you match me? So I said, sure. I'll pony up $250. So while I was at lunch, I went ahead and donated $250 to Trump's legal defense fund, which you can do by simply going to donaldjtrump.com, click on the donate button, and if you're donating right now, whatever you donate, they will double. They will double. Whatever you donate, they'll double. So if you donate $250, you've made basically a $500 donation. Excuse me. It's going to take a lot of money and a lot of lawyers, and we ain't got much time. I know a lot of people out there do not have a lot of money. That's fine. I understand that. But if you can spare $50, $100, $25, $500, $5,000, whatever you can spare, if you want to know what you can do right now to join this fight, make a donation to the legal efforts. We need to get as many lawyers on the ground as we can to blow these people out of the water. There's thousands of people who are wanting to come forward and sign affidavits. Thousands and thousands are contacting the Trump campaign. They need lawyers to take these depositions and to take their sworn statements. And they're just swamped. They need more lawyers, and that means they need more money. If you can spare it, donate $1. Now, after I got that message, I noticed on my message feed that my niece had also contacted both my sisters and my mom. And so by the end of the evening, by the end of today, she had gotten me, both my sisters, both their husbands, 2 of my cousins, my mom, and even my 97-year-old granny to make a $250 donation. We all made those donations today. They will be doubled. So essentially, the family, I should say today, our family put up about $7,500, close to, I think, $8,000 today, which was matched with another $8,000, which means $16,000 toward the effort. That's how it works. If you can make a little donation, make a donation and ask some other people to do the same. Hey, I just donated $20 to Trump to help the fight. Will you make a $20 donation to help the fight? Do everything you can. We don't have much time. There's a lot of people wanting to come forward. They're calling the Trump campaign, and they're just so overwhelmed with people. They just don't have enough time to get to them all. They had 1,800 phone calls on Monday to the Trump campaign from people wanting to tell what they know. Why? Because they're damn worried that they're going to go to jail because they were a part of it. So now they want to turn in their boss and see if they can get themselves out of trouble. That's what's going on. Now, as I've been telling you, I'm running out of time, so let me explain this to you very quickly. Why is it different this time? Because I know a lot of you are saying, man, we spent 3.5 years watching Spygate. No one got put in jail. No one got busted. They got away with this. They got away with that. Yes, you're right. And I'm as pissed about all that as you are. And there's still a chance that might happen, but it ain't going to happen if Biden ends up as president. All that's going to go away. Durham investigation, forget about it. Not going to happen. At least we have some chance that something will happen if Trump gets reelected. Now, when you see all these Republicans, Lindsey Graham, even Mitch McConnell making a speech on the floor the other day, giving a very firm support to Trump to make this legal battle, you see these Republicans coming out of the woodwork. Let me tell you why this is different. It's not that the Attorney General here in Ohio is a Trump fan. It's not that these officials here in Ohio are Trump fans. They're not. The people here love Trump, but our higher-ranking elected officials, they're establishment Republicans, just like they are around most of the country. But you're now seeing these people coming out of the woodwork. Republicans all over the country, attorney generals, former politicians, prominent Republicans who are not Trump fans, who are coming out to fully support Trump's fight in this battle. Why is that? It ain't because they love Trump, because most of them don't like him. They don't like him. Let me tell you why they're all coming out. Self-preservation. Because they all realize that if Trump loses this fight, that their personal political fortunes are going downhill. Because if the Democrats pull this off, if they pull off this election fraud scam and get away with it, these Republicans running in the future who all want political careers know that their chances of ever winning an election again in anything other than a 100% solid red district is zero. And that's not many. Most elections in this country are pretty close, separated by 2-3 points, sometimes just a few hundred votes. All these Republicans in elective office across the country know this. It's their political survival they're fighting for. It's their asses that are on the line here, not Trump's. They could care less about Trump. And Trump, you know what? If he loses, he goes back down to Mar-a-Lago to his paradise, his tropical paradise with his, with his beautiful wife, and he sits around the damn golf course trolling Joe Biden all day, giving him pure hell, making him miserable every day, and he'll be laughing his ass off. He don't care. He's rich. He's got a trophy wife. He's got it all going on. What's he need? He'll just sit around and troll Joe Biden every day. And he'll probably run again in 2024 and win. No. All these Republicans across the country are not coming out because they love Trump. Most of them don't like him at all. Their political ass is on the line. If the Democrats pull this off, they will have nearly impossible chance if they're living anywhere near, if they're in a blue or a purple district or a swing place, they'll have no chance of winning an election ever again if the Democrats get away with this. And they know it. That's why this is different. That's why, instead of Trump fighting this battle, he's had to fight every damn battle so far on his own. Not this time. Not this time. This time he's going to have thousands of Republicans all across the country, even ones who don't like him, in the fight. Because they know it's their political future is at risk. That's what's going on. Thank you for tuning in.